But it's, again, it just tells the story of it's the evil and the ugliness of people's hearts these days is everywhere.
This is Frankie Rose's Think Tank. Here's your host, Frankie Rose.
Hey guys, welcome to the Think Tank. So we just finished up with the alternate corner. We were doing a dive into the Karen Reed case. Now there's another one that's coming up that looks very interesting. So subscribe to Dylan. He is in the description and is the alternate corner. So we are going to catch up with this trial. We're a little bit behind, but what I'll do is I'll still go through it here with you and I'll cut out the breaks and we will catch up. Well, hello, Tony. How you doing, American? Hey? Okay, let's see here. Let's get this going. We'll make zip right through. We don't need this stuff. Oh, look at that. Oh. So yeah, the Karen Reed, what the heck is going on here? Man. No volume yet, but it's coming. Tony.
Yesterday regarding the presumptive blood tests that were conducted by Detective Riley that he will be testifying to today. So that needs to be addressed prior to his testimony.
Thank you. Are you ready to call your witness?
I am, Your Honor.
Thank you. Bring the jury in.
There we are. We're set.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We resume today with a state witness. And this is
If I may, Your
Detective
Honor.
Pearson, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Sergeant Jamie Pearson. May I approach real quick, Your Honor? May I approach real quick? Thank you.
If you could please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Please state your name and spell it for the record.
Sergeant Jamie Pearson, Jamie Pearston.
And
Sergeant,
your
you may be seated.
affiliation?
Connecticut State Police, Western District, Major Crime.
Thank you.
may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Good.
You currently work with the state police?
Yes.
And your current rank, please?
Sergeant.
How long have you been a sergeant with the Connecticut State Police?
Approximately 2 years.
Thank you. Could you please describe some of your training and experience with the state police?
Yes, I was hired in 2008. At the time, I attended the State Police Academy. I have received extensive training throughout the course of the academy, as well as outside institutions, to include interview, crime scene processing, scene mapping, photography, evidence collection, blood pattern analysis, various other things.
Are you with a particular division or department within the Connecticut State Police?
Yes, Western District Major Crime.
And do you specialize in any, I guess, a specific part of major crimes?
Yes, I'm currently the supervisor of the crime scene van.
When you say crime scene van, can you just briefly explain what that is?
Yes, each district is assigned a van unit, which is comprised of detectives that is responsible for processing crime scenes, to include scene documentation, photography and such, as well as analysis, interpretation.
And you are currently the sergeant for Western District?
Yes.
In 2019, what was your role?
I was a detective within the same crime scene van unit.
How long have you been working in the van unit total?
I began in 2018 as a detective and then assumed command upon promotion.
And which was when?
2021.
Thank you. I'm going to draw your attention specifically back to that May 2019 timeframe. Did you have an occasion to respond to 69 Wells Lane in New Canaan?
Yes.
Do you recall when you responded?
I responded on the 27th.
Was that the first time that you responded there?
It was.
Okay, so you did not go on the 24th or 25th?
No.
What was your, or why did you respond there?
I was tasked with producing a scene map as the continuation of scene processing was extended to the 27th.
Was anyone from New Canaan Police Department on scene when you arrived?
Yes, there was a marked cruiser securing the scene.
And who else from the Connecticut State Police was on scene with you?
Myself, Lieutenant Colonel Davison, Detective Riley, Detective Hazen, Detective McGavin. I believe that was it.
And you mentioned a sketch map. Is that what you, could you just explain what that is?
Yes, we take measurements from the scene to produce a map which would depict spaces, whether it's size of a building or the room, the crime scene in question, as well as evidence in its relation to the scene.
In this case, what did you mean by scene?
I was tasked with mapping the garage of 69 Wells Lane.
What's the purpose of a sketch map?
We want to memorialize the location of evidence, as well as other items. It could be furniture or things of interest, things of value.
And you mentioned a few names of individuals who were with you. In the course of going through the garage, or what were their assignments?
Lieutenant Colonel Davison was called in to assist with the blood pattern analysis. Sergeant McGavin was the scene officer, so he produced a scene report. Detective Riley was responsible for evidence collection, and Detective Hazen took photographs.
And you mentioned a blood pattern analysis. What is that?
It's when the blood presented is analyzed and interpreted.
Are you trained in blood pattern analysis?
Yes.
Is that in any way connected to reconstruction of a crime scene?
I am not trained to the same level as others. I have a basic understanding and knowledge of blood stain.
You did not conduct the blood pattern analysis in this case, did you?
I did not.
Okay, who did?
Lieutenant Colonel Davison.
Now, have you worked with Lieutenant Colonel Davison previously?
Yes.
About how often?
I began on patrol in 2008 with at the time, Trooper Davison, but I've known him throughout my entire career. And when I joined Major Crime in 2013, he was in the unit and we worked together throughout that tenure.
Now, in the course of creating a sketch map, are there certain steps you take?
Yes.
Could you just walk through some of those steps that you
Yes.
you do?
Once the items are items of evidentiary value, I should say, once they are identified, I produce field notes where I am measuring them in to the scene and memorializing it in a note pattern. I then take the notes and put it into a report and produce a actual map utilizing Easy Street Draw, which is the program.
What types of tools do you use when you create the sketch map?
Various things. In this case, I used a laser distance measurer as well as a steel measuring tape.
Like Kid, Your Honor, states 8, I believe, is a full exhibit, no objection?
That's correct, no objection.
States 8 will be admitted as a full exhibit.
I may just have 1 minute to sign in there. May I inquire, Your Honor, and of the clerk, if the televisions are on?
No.
May I just have a moment, Your Honor?
They're on there.
No. there's- Is Your Honor?
I will be doing an update on the treehouse unaliving in a little while.
Can you please take a look at
Maybe
what
between
is
streams or maybe
behind
after. We'll
you?
play by
If I
ear
may,
here.
This is states 8, picture 1, which is actually a PDF. And Your Honor, I will say this is with respect to Sergeant Pearson, I have to alternate between PDFs and photographs, so it might not go as smoothly as I hope. With respect to what's behind you, Sergeant, if you can, do you recognize that?
Yes,
What is it?
that is the first map of 8, which is an overall of the garage located at 69 Wells Lane.
Now, you talked a little bit about taking measurements and utilizing a ruler and a tape measure, I guess. Is that a way to
Yes.
say it? Thank you. Can you walk us through, perhaps explain how you use those tools to create this map?
Yes, in this case, I use a rectangular coordinate method, which is the method where you have 2 steel tapes on the ground in this instance, and they intersect at a right angle to determine a distance from 2 known points. In this case, it was the footings of the poured cement garage floor.
Would you mind, please, Your Honor, may I ask her to go up to the screen point? Thank you. Sergeant Pearson, can you please head on up? When you say the footings, what do you mean?
Around the perimeter, there's approximately 3¼ inches of cement that protrudes to the interior of the sheetrock walls.
And do you have a marking next to that and you have an arrow directing it? This is in the, I guess, the bottom middle of the PDF. And a number on the top says 3.25. What does that mean?
That's the approximate measurement of that protrusion of cement.
Could you please explain on the, I guess, working your way from left to right, if you could just explain some of the markings. You have ABC. What is that?
So these were evidentiary zones that allowed us to segment the garage into a more workable space. And then I was able to take measurements from each evidentiary zone and elaborate or blow it up into a larger map.
With respect to the, I guess, zone G, why is that in the middle, or why is that depicted like that?
So G contained a vehicle at the time of
Do you guys have any opinions on this
We
yet?
have to
What do you think? Where is Jennifer
the Range
and
Rover in place as
I don't know.
detectives.
Philos?
And DEF?
You SOB.
Same as A, B, and C, it was in the southernmost garage bay. It was split into 3 evidentiary zones.
Wow.
On the upper right side, or I'm sorry, not even upper right side, but on the right side, there is an arrow that has a number. I think it's 21, starting with 21. Can you just explain what that is?
Yep, so this is the interior dimension from wall to wall, which would be east-west in a measurement of 21 feet 1 inch.
Did you measure from, I guess it would be north-south as well?
I did, so from north to south, footing to footing, the interior measurement was approximately 33 feet and 11 inches.
Now, you also have writing on the left-hand side, and I'm putting my cursor on it over here. What does this mean?
This is part of our map legend, which is generally included in every map that we produce, and it includes the case number, the date, the type of case, the location, my name and signature, as well as the scale, north arrow, and whether or not it's one of the series.
Now, there's a marking right in, I guess, grid B that states area of convergence. What is that?
Area of convergence was determined on scene through measurements of the blood stains found relevant to this investigation. It's where a line is drawn through the long axis of each blood stain, and where those lines intersect in a 2-dimensional plane is what's called the area of convergence.
Did you determine the area of convergence in this case?
I did not.
Who did?
Lieutenant Colonel Davidson.
Is the area depicted on the map conveyed at the area B where it says area of convergence? Is that documented where that area was determined to be?
Yes, approximately.
Okay. And
Coward.
here
He
at
was a
G,
coward.
I guess top middle. What is that supposedly supposed to depict?
That was 2 wooden stairs that left the garage floor and entered a entry door into a mudroom of the home.
You can have a seat, Sergeant Pearson. Did you map any other part of the garage? Or I'm sorry, not the garage, the residence?
I did not.
On states 8, picture 2. Sergeant Pearson, if you can just take a look behind you. Do you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
Yes,
What is it?
that is the northernmost garage bay of 69 Wells Lane.
And I also see an A, B, C. What are those markings?
Those correspond with the evidentiary zones that we just saw in the map in that left or northernmost bay.
Did you conduct this, by the way, did you put the yellow marking tape down?
I did not.
Okay, who did?
Lieutenant Colonel Davidson.
Was that done before any seizing of exhibits or documentation of any exhibits that were found in the garage?
On the 27th, yes.
And I'm gonna draw your attention to right behind you again. Sergeant Pearson, do you recognize what's depicted on the screen? This is states 8, picture 3.
Yes.
What is it?
This is a blowout of evidentiary zone A in that northern garage bay.
Would you mind also getting back up and pointing to a few things? I apologize. Thank you. Okay. On the, I guess, right middle, there are these dots with a letter and number, A18, A17, A16. What are those supposed to represent?
So items that are listed not as an exhibit. So for example, 18, 17, and 16, as well as 15, 14, 13, and 12. Those are items that were used for blood pattern analysis. Not necessarily exhibits unless it states next to it.
So with respect to A18, and then there's a parentheses, exhibit number 41, parentheses, close parentheses, what does that mean?
That is a piece of evidence, so seized as exhibit 41, but also utilized in the bloodstain pattern analysis.
I've
So
already
with
got some
respect
pretty
to
strong
any
feelings. Let's see if
documentation on your
they
map
can
that has
sway
a
it.
letter and number, it is only the ones, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, that have the exhibit next to it that were seized as exhibits in this case.
Yes,
And the others were used for reconstruction.
analysis, yes.
Analysis.
And the A corresponds to the evidentiary zone.
I may see, I'm gonna do states 3, photograph 4. And if I can, do you recognize what's depicted on that photograph?
Yes,
What is depicted in that photograph?
this is evidentiary zone A.
Now, when something is seized as an exhibit, is it set as you delineated on your map? Or is there a corresponding, I guess, a sticky or marker tag or placard that is used on that to document it on the scene?
Yes, so typically if it is an item of evidentiary value, it is either noted by a yellow evidence placard, it could be a sticky scale which has the exhibit number on it, it could be an arrow, something that could later be photographed and then mapped in to the scene.
States 8, picture 5. Sergeant Pearson, can you please explain what's depicted on states 8, picture 5?
This is evidentiary zone B, also in the northernmost bay of 69 Wells Lane.
And on the left-hand side, there are those numbers, B11, B10, and B9. Is that similar to what you just testified for in A?
It is. So again, items used for analysis within the B evidentiary zone are assigned B and a numeric. If it was seized as evidence, we included the exhibit number.
Now, there are exhibit numbers here, if you can, that have a box or square, I should say, as opposed to a circle and no letter enumeration. It just says exhibit 43. Do you see where I'm pointing out?
Yes.
Can you explain that for me?
This is an item that was seized from evidentiary zone B, however, not utilized for bloodstain pattern analysis.
And does your
So, okay, this is the garage, I do believe that we're taking a look at. This is, so they're going to explain what all these different dots are. I'm assuming this is going to be the red stuff that we seen earlier when we were looking at this case.
your map on B also show the area of convergence designated
Yes.
by Mark Davidson?
Yes,
Thank
on
you.
the right-hand side of the map.
States 8, picture 6. What does this depict?
Okay, so yes, that's what they were,
This would be
that's what that
evidentiary zone
diagram
B
showed.
with exhibit 42.
And picture 7?
Evidentiary zone B with exhibits 42, 43, and various sticky scales that I referred to earlier.
And you pointed to the bottom right as an example. Is that an example of what you were saying designated as a exhibit or a marking that was used for reconstruction? Here,
These may have been, I can't quite see.
I can scroll up.
Yes, so that's an exhibit. It looks like, I can't tell. if
It's a little blurry because
Yeah,
it's
58 or
zoomed in,
38,
but if I can refer you back to your garage B map, would those, the stickies that you're pointing to, would they correspond with you're pointing to B3, B4, B5?
yes.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
I mean, a lot of these are pin drop.
Picture 8.
And there's also,
Can you
there
explain,
was
please, what's depicted in that
DNA on the
photograph?
vehicle as
Yeah,
well.
this is evidentiary zone C with items for analysis and exhibits of 69 Wells Lane.
The 9 on the bottom, down here, I am putting my cursor over it. Do you see that?
Yes,
Can you explain what that is?
that is a 9-foot wide garage door, overhead garage door, traditional garage door.
Okay.
And the 3 on the left-hand side?
That is a 3-foot window.
This house is amazing.
And states 8, picture 9. Do you recognize that?
Yes,
What is it?
this is the northernmost garage bay, evidentiary zones A, B, and C.
And the zone marked with C, is that corresponding with your map?
Yes,
I'm going to show you states 8, picture 10. Do you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
yes.
What is it?
Evidentiary zones D, E, and F in the southernmost garage bay.
Did you map those sizes as well?
I did.
Okay, states 8, picture 10.
They've got a lot on the, in this case, they have a lot.
Do you recognize what's depicted on the screen?
Yes.
What is it, please?
Evidentiary zone D with the relevant.
Everything but her.
exhibits Cs.
States 8, picture 11. Do you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
What is it?
Evidentiary zone D.
Now, on picture 11, states 8, actually going to zoom in a little bit. There are these, I guess, white, backwards L-shaped things. If you can just explain what those are.
That is a scale typically used in photography to photo evidence and have a standardized scale in the photo.
States 8, picture 12. Do you recognize this photograph, please?
Yes.
What is it?
Evidentiary zone E.
And states 8, picture 13. Could you please explain what's depicted in that photograph?
Yes, it's a photo of evidentiary zone E.
States 8, picture 14. Same question, Sergeant, if you can.
Evidentiary zone F.
So there's 3 drive pads with this house.
Did you? in
One
the course of
garage,
creating
3
these
bays.
maps, document every single thing that was seen in the photographs, the preceding photographs that I showed you?
No, I documented and measured in items of evidentiary value or items utilized for blood stain pattern analysis.
With respect to some of the markings that are, well, strike that if I can, states 8, picture 15. Do you recognize what's depicted here?
Evidentiary zone F.
Now, with respect to items that are seen in this photograph, is every single thing that has either a white L-shaped ruler or other marking contained in
So
your
there's
map,
the house
states 8,
again,
picture 14. I'm going to put that up again.
and they're looking at the drive bays.
Is it, if you put the two
And I
side
do
by
believe
side,
that's
it
them on the
may
far
take me a
right.
while, and I might break my computer if I attempt to do that. But is everything contained in that photograph contained in your map?
No.
Okay. Oh, why is that?
The items, if we refer back to the photo, there's items nearest the trash can that have the large L scales. We just discussed those appear to be transfer type stains, but not seized as evidence or utilized in blood stain pattern analysis.
So with respect to some of those transfer type stains or markings in the garage, did you
So
document
far left
those
in this
your
picture.
sketch map?
No.
Kind of hidden behind the trees.
Were those documented otherwise?
In photography, yes.
States
It's
16.
an amazing home.
I'm sorry, it states 8, picture 16. Show you picture 16. Do you recognize what's depicted on the screen?
Yes, this is Industry Zone G.
With respect to Exhibit 67, is that related to a actual exhibit?
It is not. Originally, an item was designated as Exhibit 67.
Philos eliminated himself, and she is now on trial.
And it was later learned that it had been relocated and not seized as an exhibit. Therefore, I submitted an additional addendum map to correct that.
With respect to Exhibit 67, do you know where Exhibit 67, was there actually something that was delineated 67? Should say that.
On this map?
No.
Yes, so 67 was seized from the northern garage door, the interior side of the garage door.
And states 8, picture 17. What does this depict?
This is the vehicle that was located in evidentiary zone G with, it looks like several exhibits on the side as well as exhibit 44.
And when you conducted your analysis with respect to creating the map, the vehicle was in place?
Yes.
Okay, you can have a seat, Sergeant. Thank you.
And then there's lots on this vehicle as well.
With respect to any of the evidence that was collected on 69 Wells or in the garage, did you have anything to do with the evidence collection process?
No.
With respect to the Land Rover or Range Rover, actually, that you see on the screen behind you, did you have anything that day or anything to do with the evidence collection process with the Range Rover?
No.
Okay. With respect to a Chevy Suburban, are you aware there's a Chevy Suburban related to this case?
Yes.
Were you involved in the processing of that item?
Yes.
What day were you involved in that?
We traveled to New Canaan Police Department that following day, so the 28th.
And what was your assignment with respect to the Chevy Suburban?
I took the inventory of the Suburban.
By inventory, what do you mean?
We document the vehicle as found by Western District Major Crime detectives, and we inventory the items seized as well as the condition of the vehicle and some like mileage, damage, things like that.
Would that also include any blood spatter or anything that is, I guess, evidence processing? I don't know if that's the correct way to say it, but would it include it? If you can understand the question.
So that day we did process the vehicle fully, but the inventory does not contain evidence in that report.
What is the purpose of doing an inventory report?
We want to document everything that was found in the vehicles so far as like personal belongings, or I mentioned damage, mileage, things like that.
In the course of conducting the inventory search of the 2017 Chevy Suburban, did you determine if there were any WeatherTech liners in the vehicle?
Yes.
What do you mean by WeatherTech liners, or what are we talking about? So we're on the same page for what a WeatherTech liner is.
Yes, it's a custom formed, but it's a hard rubber mat that protects the vehicle floorboards, interior vehicle floorboards.
And were those custom mats inside the vehicle?
Yes.
Where?
The front left and front right had individual ones, and then there was a very large mat that spread from the second row passenger to the third row rear passenger, one large mat.
Was there a WeatherTech liner in the trunk of that vehicle?
No.
Nothing further, thank you.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Sergeant Pearson.
Morning.
I think we've spoken before.
Yes.
I just have a few questions about what you did at the residence in New Canaan. When you placed, there are a couple of pictures I just want to ask you about, and if I would ask that if we could put up just for a minute Exhibit 10A. And if you just look back there for a second.
We don't have a 10.
It's numbered, it's the Exhibit 8, but it's, yeah, 10. This is 10A from Exhibit 8 that you were just showing a little bit. And I'm just going to ask you if you would please explain. There is a, the yellow tape that's placed on the measuring tape. Is that in inches or in centimeters?
I believe it's just inches. I don't recall if the other side has metric measurements. I'd have to look at it closely.
Right, and you're aware of the fact that if it's metric, there are approximately 2.54 centimeters to 1 inch, correct?
Yes.
Okay, you'll take my word for it.
I will.
All right. Can I zoom in a little bit, please, on the yellow tape measure, please? Zoom it in. And of course, it's a little bit blurry, but you can't tell from here whether it's inches or centimeters, is that right?
It appears to just be inches.
Okay. And then there's the little, could zoom out again, please. Now, you also made reference to some of these white tapes. And again, I'm just gonna, I'm referring to, we're talking about these little white items such as what's on the blown up image now. Now, we can't read this in the blow up, can we?
I cannot.
So let me go to, let's go to Exhibit 11 and see if we can see it any better, please. And for the record, this is garage D. This is the section of the garage that you called, I think D, correct?
Yes.
The portion, all right. And if we can look at, there are a bunch of these little white tapes down there. If we could just slightly zoom in on the white L-shaped portion. Let's do the larger one there. Now, there are little numbers that do appear on this photograph, isn't that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell whether those are in inches or in centimeters or millimeters for that matter?
I'm familiar with the largest of the two scales, and that is metric. The smaller may have, it looks like it's all metric.
Okay. And do you recall whether the numbers are, the number you see marked centimeters or millimeters? I'm assuming centimeters, but I'm asking you.
Yes, centimeters. The smallers would be millimeters.
All right. Now, if you look at the bottom right of this blow up there, where you see the yellow tape down at the bottom there, and again, I'm just gonna, for the record, these appear to be centimeters as well, do they not?
I believe they're inches.
Okay, fair enough. But if you compare the yellow to the white, you'll see that the measurements in yellow are, of course, where each number is larger than the number of spaces with the lines up on the white part. Is that correct?
Yes.
So just for the benefit of me, so if we're looking at the red mark that I'm now circling here, that's between the L shape of the white centimeter markings. Could you just describe, based on those measurements, the approximate size? And again, I'm not going to ask you to get up there and measure it, but how approximately sized do you see this red mark there? Approximately how long that is and how wide?
I'm merely guessing, but a couple inches, possibly.
Okay. All right. And if you would now please go to number 17 on Exhibit 8, please. And you indicated that you marked the something on the ground there under the tire that you placed that yellow marker on that, in that photograph, correct?
No, I did not.
Can you just tell us who placed the markers?
I would guess the evidence officer did that.
Right. So when you say you guess, you weren't there when that was done.
I
Right?
did not see that, no.
Right. So you didn't have a say in which places markers would be placed,
No.
right? So you come in there on this occasion, at least at the garage, to document what someone has already done with regard to the yellow placards.
Yes,
What about the white? We have a couple of those same white markers on the side of the Range Rover, correct?
yes,
Did you place those?
I did not.
So as I understand it, what about the yellow measuring tape in inches that's marking off the quadrants?
I did not place those.
All right. So someone else, do you know who did that, by the way?
The yellow tapes would have likely been Lieutenant Colonel Davison. The evidentiary items with the white scales or yellow placards, likely the evidence officer,
Okay.
Detective Riley.
But again, you weren't there for that, so you don't know.
I was there, I didn't do it though.
But you don't recall seeing who did it. It's 4.5 years ago.
No, I do not recall.
All right. But did anyone direct you on what to take pictures of on that occasion?
I didn't take any photographs.
No, I'm including the ones we're looking at right now. You took that one, didn't you?
I did not. I didn't take any photographs at 69 Wells. I simply mapped the garage.
I misunderstood. You
Yeah.
only did the measurements.
Correct.
And you used the measurements for your map design, which we saw, correct?
Yes.
So, and so I'm clear, of all the photographs that you were shown and you were asked to describe, you took none of those.
I did not.
The measurement maps that we have, you documented what was already in photographs that someone else did. Is that right?
Yes.
And then you added it to your various maps that we saw, right?
I did not. The state did. It's not in my report. I simply included the maps and my narrative in my report.
So when you say the state did, I'm not sure I understand. What do you mean by that?
I think it was prepared for court that way.
Oh, but did you not prepare the actual PDF maps that we just saw?
Yes, just not the photographs.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You didn't have photographs interconnected with those, with your maps?
Correct.
You just did maps?
Yes.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Was there a redirect,
No, sir, thank you.
or did you make that step?
Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may have a brief 5-minute break just to set up the computer with respect to Detective Riley. He is my only other witness for today, but there is some documentation the state wishes to show him.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a matter of setting up for the next witness. We would ask that you return to the deliberation room. Please do not discuss the case.
Do you want me to call them up on my computer?
Yeah.
The court's order is that there be no photos taken for which we can hear a click. That is not permitted. So if you can muffle the click, that would be in compliance with the order. Do we have to take up the argument on the motion to preclude presumptive blood testing at this point?
Yes, Your Honor. If I just have a moment to
It doesn't look very big in there, huh?
Yes. The state is going to try to introduce at least 3, perhaps 4, because I went through this last night, photographs of the glow of either luminol or Kastle-Meyer, which is shortened in some documents to KM, which is the reagent test, the presumptive test for blood. I had cited in my motion State versus Moody. I also cited the New Jersey appellate court case of State versus Pittman and the Arkansas case of Young versus State, which were subsequent to Moody, that all stand for the proposition that the presumptive test for blood, whether they use luminol or they use the Kastle-Meyer product, is some kind of an aerosol spray that reacts to different substances. One of the substances is blood. There's other fluids that do, but also certain kinds of cleansers do, certain rust products do. There may be I saw one article that listed 30 things that react to it. Now, I'm not sure, other than what the state mentioned yesterday, the idea that it should come in just so that the state can explain why certain pictures were taken. We're about to see, I didn't count them all, but about 40 photographs that cover all of these same areas. We've already seen pictures of drops of blood, alleged blood, or blood-like stains from both the Suburban and from the garage.
Yeah, it looks like everything
We also
happened in
have
this
a video
garage.
that showed and there were zoom-ins of the same thing, as well as the body camera showing something that was a blood-like stain. Now, State versus Moody addresses two issues, and the case that was mentioned yesterday, the Grant case, and there are a couple of other appellate court cases. There were two issues in Moody, and I want to make this clear because the state has kind of conflated the two issues. The first issue in Moody was whether or not a lay witness or anyone else, a police officer, could imply that something looked like blood, and whether a lay opinion was appropriate in the absence of confirmatory testing. Both in Moody, there's another case called Whipple, State versus Whipple, where they discussed that, and then in Grant, they explained the difference between the findings in Moody and Whipple and in the Grant case, where it wasn't about luminol, it wasn't about this presumptive blood testing, it was instead about whether a lay witness can say, looked like there was a pool of blood, the person was bloody, etc. And that was the issue in those later cases. I think I emphasized yesterday, I don't want to have to re-quote it, but the Supreme Court specifically, the Supreme Court of Connecticut has specifically said that there is absolutely no probative value whatsoever in the presumptive testing. Therefore, the fact that they took some additional photographs, which we're going to have every inch of these vehicles being photographed anyway, because there's a presumptive test that glowed, is going to confuse the jury. And I'm going to explain, it's not just going to be about here. Later on, when they do the presumptive test of the glow, the luminol in the Tacoma, it wasn't blood at all. It's not human. It's not organic. So it's the only possible reaction of this jury is they're going to be thinking that somehow, the fact that this it glowed in the blue light, there must be more blood there. There's as the court is well aware, there is not very much blood at all on either scene, either on the Suburban, which now the court has seen, or in the garage. So the danger here is the prejudice is the jury's going to think, oh, well, there's more because this spray makes it look like there was even more that we're not picking up. But in both cases, as far as I know, when they tested it, it was when it went to the lab, it was not blood. But when we get back to the issue at hand, since it has no probative value under Moody, and the issue has to do with whether or not it's going to either be confusing or in some way prejudicial. If they're going to try and introduce it, then I insist that we have a quarter hearing, Because if the court, I thought it's already been decided that it has no value, and a lab person down the road may testify to that, but in light of your ruling from yesterday, if the state doesn't ask a subject matter, I don't get to cross-examine about it, and then only if I decide to put on a case in the defense case would it even come out. And so, in following the court's rulings and the way the court wishes to proceed, we're talking about 3 or 4 pictures today through Detective Riley, or I don't know if he's now a sergeant, but he was a detective at the time, and asking in the question why he took certain pictures, which I submit is irrelevant since they took pictures of everything and documented everything. So in light of the decision in Moody and in the case of State versus Whipple, where there's such a strong view by the Connecticut Supreme Court that has no probative value, and they use the word whatsoever, that it will only lead to prejudice. And I submit that the argument that, well, they can distinguish Moody, not on this issue. There is not a single case that I could find anywhere that said that it had probative value at all. That is, we're talking about this reagent spray test, at any probative value whatsoever. But there's a lot of not only danger of prejudice, but confusion. What's the jury going to think? What's the court going to instruct the jury? That it has no value and we're only putting it in because that's where the officer wanted to take pictures? There's like 40 pictures we're about to see from Detective Riley. The whole car, the 3 pictures where they use the blue light to do that, or the black light rather, and it looks blue in the photographs. There's no explanation for it. There's no legitimate basis for it. So on those bases,
So does Michelle have her own money, guys?
About 3 or maybe 4 pictures out of 40 which are going in. I could also argue cumulative, but we don't even get to that in light of the fact that there's just such danger with this particular misunderstanding and misapprehension for what's essentially junk science. There are a lot of things they could. One last example, and I'll sit down. There could be a situation where a police officer conducts a polygraph test and said, yes, polygraphs are not admissible, but based on what was said, I then went and did X. But of course, the Supreme Court has said you can't bring in polygraph for any reason because it's not reliable and has no probative value. So to use that as the reason for conduct by a police officer in this case would certainly be more prejudicial than probative. And it's also not necessary for the state's case to prove their case. I just have 1 minute.
It seems to be having problems there for a minute. So does she have her own money?
I've
Because
also been
Dulos
reminded that in Moody, the court talked about how that particular piece of evidence had an impact on the jury. And that's why the Supreme Court was so adamant that it's not admissible because it has no validity in either science or in the law. Thank you.
So first, Attorney Schoenhorn, the court wants to understand what the nature of the testimony may be from this next witness. So this next witness took photographs, is that correct?
No, that is not correct, Your Honor. If I may interject, the next witness didn't take any photographs. The next witness is the evidence officer who determined which items in the garage to seize as exhibits and or document as evidence. He authored an evidence report or exhibit report, which indicates every item that is documented on Sergeant Pearson's map. He is the individual who made that decision in connection with with Lieutenant Colonel Davidson to examine those items. He also, if you look at the exhibit report, did KM testing on around 30 of those exhibits, Your Honor. Some of which, about 4 of them, came back negative. He documented that as well. There are about 3 or 4 photographs the state intends to introduce as well with respect to the luminol that was done on the car that counsel is referring to, but it's not by itself what this detective is testifying to. He's testifying to the content of the photographs, not taking them. So just to be very clear on that.
Well, what is his testimony expected?
Gotcha.
His testimony is going to walk through the garage, identify the items that were seized as exhibits in 69 Wells itself, in the house.
So let the court interject here. His testimony is going to be what items were seized that were of evidentiary value, correct?
And what he did when he processed the scene, yes.
Let's just talk about what he decided to seize.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
So his testimony is going to be he decided to seize what?
With respect
to
the
this issue.
presumptive test. Yes, Your Honor. He worked in connection with Lieutenant Colonel Davidson with respect to the blood pattern analysis that was done. He seized various swabbings of various blood spatter that was found, including some of the exhibits. He tested them.
So I wonder why they're fighting this. This sounds like somebody that should be testifying.
Process of swabbing them and logging them as exhibits in this case.
So again, the court has to ask this question. What he did was swab those areas of that vehicle or garage floor, correct?
He swabbed those areas and he performed the KM test. And then they were subsequently sent to the lab. He is part of that chain in command.
That
was
doesn't
the nature of the
surprise
testimony
me.
presented,
She
Your
looks
Honor, with
very
respect to the
confident.
Presumptive test.
So he is going to be asked, the court assumes, that he did not take the photographs, correct? Because Attorney Pearson did not take the photographs.
She did not, and the state did not offer them as a photographer. I offered them as a representation of what the map was. And
Well, the only way, counsel, that the jury knows what was or what the garage floor looked like was through photographs.
yes,
The only way that your next witness can testify about what he swabbed is because we saw the photographs.
Hey,
those, and
Tony.
there are more photographs that the state intends to introduce. He will testify to each one if necessary. If counsel is objecting to those photographs coming in, then I will lay a foundation for each and every one, utilizing the screen and asking him if that is a fair and accurate representation of what he observed that day and what he sees as evidence. I have no problem doing that, Your Honor. I did not do that, by the way, with Sergeant Pearson, just for the court, because counsel did not have any objection to the photographs coming in
Jazzy.
to save time, but I will if that is what is needed.
Well, the testimony is going to have to reach the point where he says he swabbed this area because,
Yes,
and that's where this issue arises, correct?
if I may just clarify and actually bounce off what counsel said, what we discussed yesterday, and I believe the court order ruled an issue on, is the fact that the police officer can testify, or even lay witness can testify, that something appears to be blood-like. That would be the start of the testimony. Then I believe Detective Riley will testify as to, once he determined that it was blood-like, what his next steps were, either to swab it or test it for utilizing the KM test. So it's a link in the chain after. So just to keep those two issues separate.
Just to phrase it colloquially, he's going to testify, it looked like blood to me.
Yes,
Next, he's going to indicate that it was swabbed because it looked like blood to him.
yes.
And also he performed a presumptive test, correct?
Yes, but just to qualify that, Your Honor, I don't believe that the only reason it was further swabbed and further steps were taken was simply because of the look of the item. It was the entire concept or the facts of the case, including the fact that we have Jennifer Dulos is a missing mother of 5 who dropped her kids off from school and never returned home, including the fact that it all happened in her home. The blood was positioned in one location and made it more likely that it was blood. There were numerous factors going into his decision. So it is a little more nuanced than that.
Well, counsel has indicated that there are a number of grounds on which he believes that a lay witness should not testify concerning the presumptive test. Now, what counsel laid out, and the court is just indicating what it understands from the argument. First, it may confuse the jury. Second is that it was prejudicial. Well, the issue is not whether it's prejudicial, it's whether it's unfairly prejudicial. So what the court is going to do is review State versus Moody and any related cases. And we have to take a recess for that.
And if I may, Your Honor, I would ask the court to review State v. Grant, which is 286 Con 499.
286 Con 499.
Yes, sir. It's a 2008 case, as well as State v. Downing.
State v. Downing.
Downing, DOWNING, 68 Con App 388, 2002.
The citation again, please.
68 Con App 388, 2002 case. And of course, the state would always refer, yesterday I referred to State v. Schaefer, which is that 1975, 168 Con 309. So I would ask the court to review those. And then after, at some point, the state would like to be heard on the motion, on the legal analysis side of it. I would just ask the court for that time when the court is ready.
One other matter that we don't have to talk about this second, but what I just heard Attorney Manning say is that they're also going to suggest that the reason certain pictures were taken because of all this hearsay that he heard. So they're going to do a narrative about what they think their theory is, which again is not necessary. This is the evidence technician who gathered evidence. I was also under the impression, based on what was said, that they took photographs at the same time. But if they didn't, I'm not going to object to the other photographs coming in through this witness. They obviously, whoever took them, and there are multiple detectives who took photographs at various points. I'm not going to require the author of those photographs because any witness can say, is this fair and accurately represent what it looked like when you're in there? So I'm.
She has enough money to have a really good defense team.
Asking to explain why he took certain photographs so we can get into multiple narratives about the hearsay about the case, when all he needs to say is, I went in there, I had information, and I took photographs. What he heard about the case is not relevant to his actions. And it would also involve the confrontation, my right to confront, cross-examine, about whatever he was told, whether it was accurate or inaccurate, where this witness won't be able to say. And I just think it'll take us on a little detour, unnecessary detour through allegations that were being made in the media and from other individuals. So I just note that may be part of what's going to be heard. I just don't know.
Can I just clarify again? This witness did not take the photographs. Counsel keeps reiterating about why photographs were taken. It's not the state's intention to offer testimony that Detective Riley ordered those photographs taken because the photographer meant to take that specific photograph. It's the actual exhibit C's.
Fair enough. I will amend my remarks. The fact that he took certain swabs does not depend upon the nature of the investigation in terms of what he had heard about what had happened in the days before he got there. He was assigned to take certain, it looks the way it looked, he took certain swabs and then it went to the lab. I have no objection to any of that.
They're really fighting about this witness. I wonder why. What does the defense not want us to see?
The Supreme Court has said easily confuses the jury, especially since we won't be hearing from the lab until at least a week from now, as far as I know.
If I can, Your Honor, just clarify a few things here. And again, I would like to be heard on the law. So at some point I would, so before we get back into cases, but just for just to make sure that the record is very clear that the detective with his training experience is going to testify, and this is the offer of proof, about why he took a swab. It's not just because of the color. Otherwise, we'd be taking ketchup stains everywhere. It is because of his training and experience and his interpretation as the evidence officer. He has a right to that testimony. With respect to the law, I will reserve my argument for when Your Honor deems fit.
Well, it is clear that the evidence officer was summoned to 69 Wells Lane because there was a missing persons report. So one could claim, well, that's hearsay.
I'm not objecting to that, Your Honor. Just
Thank you. This is going to take some time for the court to review these cases. So, of course, the court would allow the jury to go into a recess at this point anyway. We're probably not going to come back until 12:15. Stand in the recess until 12:15.
Okay, so I will zip that up a little bit and we'll get through hopefully all of their recess. Let's see where we're at. Okay, so yeah, they're still on recess, so we have caught up, guys. I think what it is the everything that they were finding in that garage as far as the blood, the splatter, all of that good stuff. I think that they're trying to keep some of that out. And it sounds like because he was possibly an evidence tech, they don't think that he's the right guy to start bringing out some of this evidence. That's my thoughts. So let's see here. I was not able to catch the sentencing for, let's see here. So Teresa Black, she got 10 years for concealing a body. She got 10 years, which is more than I expected. But at the same time, I don't know if I agree with her narrative either. How much time does one get for a disappearance? Do you know what? I think this varies. Jennifer's been gone for quite some time, and her husband that is accused of doing this unalived himself shortly after this happened, which to me is always a little suspicious. So this is Philos Dulos and Michelle. I don't know how you say her last name. Troconis? They look a little bit alike in my mind. I'm going to, I just have to bring this courthouse up. I won't. Okay. And as soon as there's movement in the court, we'll take another look there. So this is Jennifer and Philos Dulos. Beautiful, beautiful woman. So Dandy looked it up, and it sounds like Michelle is hovering around the 2 million zone as far as what she has for moolah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is they're saying that he did this and then she helped him. That's basically where we're at. And like I say, Philos, he took the chicken shite way out and deleted himself, leaving Michelle to deal with all the pieces that were left behind. So there we are. We've got Jennifer, and then we got the girlfriend, Michelle, and Philos. 5 kids they left, that is what were left behind. I don't know if I've got it. I did find a picture that the faces were all blurred out on the children, but look at the house, hey? Isn't that amazing? I'm not sure the value of this, what it's worth, but it's got to be an ish ton. Way more than the 2 million that the girlfriend was. Way more than the 2 million. They do look a little bit alike, except of course, I believe Jennifer's way prettier. So this is interesting too. So Philos wrote a letter before he deleted himself. And let's see here. What it says is, all. If you're reading this, I am no more. I refuse to spend even an hour more in my jail for something I had nothing to do with. Enough is enough. If it takes my head to end this, so be it. I want to be known that Michelle had nothing to do with Jennifer's disappearance, and neither did I. Kent Mahoney, I asked the state to let them free any such accusations. I also asked that the state stop harassing my friends, Andrea, and I don't know, I can't say the last name, and Ann Curry. They are honorable people. Please let my children know that I love them. I want to do everything to be with them. But unfortunately, we all have our limits. The state will not rest until I rot in jail. My attorney can explain what happened with the bag on Albany Avenue. Everything else is a story fabricated by the law enforcement. I want to thank all of my family and friends that stood by me through this difficult time. Above all, Ann Curry, I am sorry for letting you down and not continuing the fight. So that's his response to the charges. It just blows me away. Coward much? She was involved with discarding evidence in bins around town. Oh, there we are. Thanks, Dandy. Okay, the 9,800 square foot house situated on a quiet cul-de-sac on Wells Lane has been listed for $2,995,000. Yeah, it does look pretty tidy, doesn't it? I agree with you. I don't know if they ever did any kind of analysis as far as the writing went. So I am going to try this, guys. Bring it up and see how it works. Okay, give me 2 seconds here, friends. Okay, sometimes I have problems streaming this, but I'm certainly going to try here. So 69 Wells Lane, this is the house. Right there, there we are. Now let's see, I'm not too sure how close we can get. Meow. Okay. Just gorgeous. Looks like, oh yeah, 3 days. 3 days. You guys getting this okay? Actually, you know what? Seriously, in the Rockies here, the internet sucks. So I ended up with Starlink. And for the most part, it's good. But I still periodically run into problems. It's gorgeous, isn't it, Mexi? 9,800 square feet. Just beautiful. Oh, let me get a little bit in here. Oh, look at that. They've got the tape up even in this. This is Google Earth. Can you imagine? Look at that place. Yeah, more tape over here as well. Yes, that's what they're saying, that she was unalived in the garage. They think basically that she got home and was jumped as soon as she got into that garage. That's why they're spending so much time with all of the little drops and what have you in that garage. And there's also some of that same red substance on that vehicle that was in there. I think it's a Land Rover. Just bloody beautiful. And then behind it, I mean, it's all tree. Look at that, guys. Oh my God. Let's see. I don't know how far they're letting me go here. Oh, I guess the other neighbor is fairly close. Look at that. Isn't that freaking amazing, guys? This place has got to have cameras all over the place, right? One would think. So that's probably one right there. I'm sure that they've grabbed all the cameras from this place. You would think. Well, of course they would. I mean, just wow. Okay, so let's see here. So we went across here. So both of these were closed off the entrances, and this must have been the other house. But look at all the trees and space there is in here. Like a bunch. And then there's also where her vehicle was found, or the vehicle, straight over here on Lapham Road. I should be able to get right in there. So this is just looks like a side road behind the residential. And yeah, her vehicle, or the black vehicle that they're talking about, was found right back in here somewhere on Lapham Road. I'm not going to say that it's the 123, but it is somewhere on this road. They might give us a better idea as we go on. So realistically, not that far. Let's see. Okay, right there. here. So 1.19 miles across. So yeah, not far at all, guys. So yeah, is that where she was deleted? And yeah, that is what the cops are suspecting right now in that garage. And we'll just leave that there for now. Absolutely, I would. Yeah. I mean, realistically, if you're a renter and you bounce around a little bit, look at me, I'm just a hot mess. There's things that happen in all these homes, maybe not the big M, but I can guarantee you should sage every single house you live in. I do multiple times. Non-natural deaths such as H or S in a house can decrease the property's value 10 to 25%. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they put that house up for sale and I had a few extra million hanging around. Hells yeah. Yep. Yeah, I don't find that bothersome. To me personally, I don't find it bothersome. It's freaking beautiful. Some of even the aerial views, it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And yeah, I understand the decrease in value because a lot of people, I guess, would not stay in a place like this. But the house didn't do it. Her asshole of a husband and his girlfriend, I think we need to look at them. It's not the house. He took the chicken shite way out and she's paying the price. As she should, if she was out there, if she knew about this and she was getting rid of evidence like they say she was. Yeah, not a good look. And what are you doing hanging out with a married guy anyways? If he's a pig, let him be a pig on his own time. That's on you, not on her. Look at how gorgeous she was. 5 kids. Like I said, 5 kids now left without a mom or a dad, which happens quite frequently, doesn't it? There's some kind of altercation at home, sitting in a chair, I do believe. I think that they found him by looking through a window and just seen him there, unalive. Can you imagine? I mean, oh my God, I got some pretty ignorant exes. Can't go there. Couldn't. You got to be a special kind of individual to be able to do the things some of these people do. It just blows me away, human nature. A lot of people work against nature. I mean, you can't be doing something like this and call yourself a human. Good Lord. It blows me away. But does it come down to money? They don't want to get a divorce because they're going to lose half or something. Well, or pay child support for 5 kids. Yeah, I guess you do because you don't do this, And what did he say? Please tell my kids I love them. Well, I'm sorry, buddy. You just showed that you care about yourself a hell of a lot more. Because if you did not do this, you would have been out there fighting for your freedom. You would have been there clawing, scratching, doing whatever you could to find out where your wife was who did this. You and your girlfriend don't just kind of go on a hiatus. Exactly. But Tony, I don't think that these people actually think they're going to get caught. I think some of them are so arrogant that they just do what they please, feel they're either above the law or won't get caught, or just cops won't be able to prove it somehow. Yeah, a lot of times it's about losing children to the other parent. Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. So his remedy for that was unaliving himself. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. This place, this house, as fancy dancy as it is, can you imagine? Cameras all over the place. There had to have been. Especially, people think that living out in the wilderness or in the bush a little bit, like these houses where I'm at, even don't lock their doors and don't do you know what? There's just as much risk as somebody showing up at your house when you're living outside of a populated area, because I think a lot of times bad guys just figure, oh, there's not technology out here. Well, pretty much anywhere you live now, whether it's in the bush or whether you're in a city or you're in an expensive little gated community, there's always a way. Nowadays, yeah, it's nearly impossible these days to get away with this kind of ish. Ooh, I can imagine that. That's scary. The movie Stranger comes to mind. Well, that's the thing, because, these people, they're out driving the back roads or what have you, and they think that, stop it. They think that they are hitting up a place where there's no technology, which is the furthest from the truth. So, I mean, they are catching a lot of these guys. I triple check my doors, even I just walk away from after checking it's locked. Yeah, right? Yeah, the technology now, Tony, is absolutely amazing. You know, we were just looking at the Karen Reed case this morning. And again, I do believe that technology is going to be where we get our break with that case as well when it comes up. It's okay. It's okay, my is it Jazzy? Are you coming to say hi? Say hi to everybody. Oh, thank you. Yeah, better safe than sorry. I agree. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Jazzy is resting her head here, looking for cookies. Yeah, I mean, pretty hard to get away with stuff these days. I mean, look at Koberger. He thought he was brilliant by turning Snazzy Jazzy. That's my girl. Snazzy Jazzy. She always has to make some kind of appearance, right? But yeah, look what happened with the Murdoch case. That case blew my mind with how they were able to put everything together and put him right on that property. There's no way. I know he's trying to get another trial, but I don't know, even if he does, how there's going to be a different outcome, because he's nailed to the wall with all that technology. I have two. I've got Jazzy and Lizzie. Jazzy's my little lab, and Lizzie is my little Roddy. And then I've got sugar gliders. I've got a ferret. I got a little python, and I've got chinchillas. It's my funny farm, my Canadian funny farm. He's a brat. Tony's a brat. Oh yeah, she's like number one. Her and her other canine sister. So Lizzie has just learned to come upstairs so she can be on the same floor as me at night. Well, now she can't make it on the bed. So when I go to sleep or try to sleep, I'm constantly hearing, my poor life. It's like, oh my word, Frankie's not getting any sleep. Always have to have a flea bag in the house. Mm. So we'll also take a peek after this break is over and we get through the rest of our afternoon session. I'll probably set up another stream so we can go over and take a look at the treehouse case again, because that one is also super interesting in my mind. Get some pup stairs. Yeah, I'm gonna get her a bench. Well, I've got one. I'm just gonna move it upstairs for her. So I'm not quite sure. Yeah, that one, the one with like the fancy fittings upstairs. What they called it, a what? This is our tree house. That's our tree house case. The trailer house. That's what I think about living there. No, thank you. No, thank you. It is wild, Mexi. I agree. I agree. We'll get back on it after this. It's hard because there's so many cases right now that are going to trial that are piquing my interest. So I'm scrambling here to get everything to you guys. Yeah, the Seahead Treehouse. Wasn't that something? Wasn't that something? So yeah, we'll check up on that after this. I'll set it all up. I don't even know what time it is in the state, to be honest with you. I get so confused with all those different time zones in the US. We've got them here in Canada, but they're pretty easy because you just start at the west and go across and just keep adding an hour. It's like, okay, I can do that. But the US is so huge that I can't keep up. And then they'll change a time zone. I mean, right in the middle of the country, there's like all these different time zones. Yeah, you just might. Oh, seriously? So they are 2 hours ahead. Thank you for that, Dandy. I love that you and I are in the same time zone. So 1 o'clock in Florida. So I would assume at the top of the hour, they'll get back at it. Oh, there you go. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Is that your home base, that state? I stayed there I stayed just off from Daytona on the beach there for, I don't know, it must have been close to 6 weeks when I was like 18, 19 years old and just loved it. Everything but we were talking about yesterday, those freaking palmetto bugs. Oh, you're in Michigan. Okay. Okay. Nice. I have not been to Michigan. Same time zone. Yeah, they just baffle me, the US time zones. I just can never get it. And then I look at a time zone map and it's like, what? What? East Coast, 2 hours ahead, West Coast, 2 hours behind. And then how do they decipher the middle? How does that work? Yeah, that city scares me a little bit. That one gives me the heebie-jeebies. There's a few cities that there's just absolutely no way I'll take my sorry little butt to. It's no. I'd have to be like an American and be able to carry a bang bang with me because it's, yeah. And us Canadians aren't allowed to do that. So I'm not, I'm uncomfortable about it. I want to go to Nashville to CrimeCon. That's a goal of mine. And it's probably CrimeCon is one of the few reasons that I would be brave enough to go to some of these cities. Oh, and Shauna as well. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful country. Oh, okay. Okay. Beautiful country, but yes, some of the people scare me. Make me a little uncomfortable. I mean, it's the same thing here in Canada. I'm not saying that it's different. It's just we don't have the population. Our cities are nowhere near as big as yours. We have got the same problems. Absolutely. It's just a little bit further away from us. You can get away from it. Oh, so you've been to Tennessee a bit? Looks absolutely beautiful. I mean, there's so many states there that I would love to see. I'll be honest with you, I would love to see them. But yeah, the crime thing in the cities concerns me a little bit. Of course, being a streamer, I'm constantly looking at the news, and it's like, whoa, look what's going on here, look what's going on there. It just blows me away. Oh, nice. Nice. Do you still do that type of thing, Tony? I think actually you mentioned once that you were a musician, right? Trust me, nobody wants to hear me sing. Nobody wants me. I can't play an instrument to save my soul. Oh, good on you, Tony. That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you have a place where we could check out your music? So, a couple more minutes and let's hope. Hey, we have Shania Twain. She's good. We got Tom Petty, and we've got Rush. Okay, do you have a link or something you can send our way? I'll put it up for you as well. Rock music, nice. Yeah, I'm really interested in checking it out. Do you play an instrument or sing or all of the above? Oh God, I don't know. Maybe Eastern Canada? I would love that, Tony. I would love that actually. Yes, yes, you do, Maxie. You love it. You're a busy girl, eh? Happy Friday. Are you serious? You're talented. So if you ever need someone to play spoons, I might be your girl. Oh, yeah, the Who. You bet. You bet. So yeah, we got but okay, we've also got, what's her name now? I'm not a big fan. We also have Katie Lang. That's awesome. Yeah, gotta love live music. There's nothing like it. Do you get to see a lot of concerts then? Do you enjoy going to the concerts, you guys? It's been quite a while since I've been to one, but I used to love concerts. Back when there wasn't like prearranged seating and you had to spend $5,000 to sit in the nosebleeds. It was like, what? Have you ever heard of April Wine? That's another one of my faves. Are you a concert goer too, Dandy? We got to get Mexi to a concert. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. We don't get a lot of festivals out here. Last one I was at was on Vancouver Island, and we ran the merch tent, which was right by the stage. So I was in charge of getting all of the musicians their money and selling their goods. And yeah, it was pretty interesting. That's where I met Katie Lang, and she was such a biatch. But we also had, I mean, it wasn't all, she wasn't the highlight as far as I'm concerned. You guys ever heard of the Sheepdogs? Check them out. Damn, very impressed. It was the first time I was ever backstage. Oh, is that right? Is that outside? Is that an outside venue? Oh, Rodrigo and Gabriella at the Red Rocks. So where's Red Rocks? I'm not familiar. Okay. Just checking on the streams, still waiting. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah. Nothing better. Isn't that something? Is the court running late? I'm just going to put this up for now while we're waiting. No. While we're waiting, let's just keep that up on the screen. It's in Morrison, Colorado. It overlooks Denver. Oh, beauty. Beauty. Do you guys like going to things like, one of my favorite things to go to is actually Oh my God. What are they called? Have you ever guys gone to like a hit to pass? Is what they're called? So that's, I mean, it's like a demolition derby almost, but they're going around an oval. And in order to pass the vehicle in front of you, you've got to hit it and send it off. So yeah, hit to pass is what they call it. Oh my God, did I ever love those? They don't have anything like that around here, but when I was living in the Okanagan, that was absolutely one of my favorite things to do on the weekends. It just cracked me right up. I have not been to Colorado. Absolutely beautiful. We're very much the same though. I think, Dandy, you've got better weather in the spot that you're at. You're not getting this 40 below stuff. Oh, beautiful. Are you serious? That is phenomenal. I'll see here. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, what did I do here? Do it this way. Oh, it's not going to let me. That's fine. It wouldn't let me share that, Dandy, but it's sheer gorgeous. The red rocks. I can do it this way. Yeah. There we go. Red rocks. That is amazing. Let me get rid of this so I can share it with you guys. Look at that. That's spectacular. I know of one that we've got in Canada, and it's in Alberta, in the Drumheller Valley, and they use an area out there. They've got it set up as an amphitheater, and I have not been there, but of course, living in the area, I mean, you hear it. It's absolutely phenomenal. Wow, love it. So we are still waiting for the courthouse. Not quite sure um, what time they're planning on getting their ish together. Oh, whoa, beautiful dandy. Okay, nothing's happening in the courthouse, so we're gonna pop back over here for a second. Check this out, guys. Look at that. Oh my God. I wanna. Unreal. The beauty. Oh, I bet it is, Dandy. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah, natural theaters, natural stages and platforms with all of the I mean, it's got to be the absolute perfect setting, doesn't it? In order to make an amphitheater, but I mean, there's nothing like it. I think I need to get to Colorado for a concert. So is that venue used quite often, Dandy? Is that something that's constantly getting new performers? Yeah, absolutely beautiful. The court's taking an awfully long lunch. My word, we could have been working on the treehouse, guys. Oh, is that right? Well, yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing like an outdoor concert. There just really isn't. The energy is even different with the crowd. So what the heck are they having? Like a 5-course meal? My word. Lordy, lordy. Well, let me see here. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Okay, let's see here. Testimony resumed in a Stamford courtroom Friday for the deleting conspiracy trial of Michelle Troconis. Troconis is charged in connection with the 2019 disappearance and passing of Jennifer Dulos. Friday's testimony began with Sergeant Jamie Pierston of the Connecticut State Police's Western District Major Crimes Unit. She testified to her role in mapping out the crime scene at the Dulos home on Wells Avenue in New Canaan. Is that how they say that? Canaan? Okay, so Troconis is being charged with conspiracy to commit tampering with evidence, hindering prosecution, among other charges. A six-member jury will determine whether she helped Fotis Dulos cover up the deleting after the fact. She denies the allegation and has pled not guilty to conspiracy to commit evidence tampering, and hindering prosecution. Several motions were filed overnight Wednesday into Thursday by the defense, attempting to set perimeters on how the prosecution could approach certain words like victim when referencing Jennifer Dulos. The judge addressed some of the motions, but decided he would take up motions with evidence. Let's see here. The judge addressed some of the motions, but decided he would take up motions when evidence would be coming in the trial. So the trial opening did not include opening arguments, which are not required under state law. It began with the calling of New Canaan Police Lieutenant Aaron LaTourette as the first witness. LaTourette was one of the responding officers the night Jennifer Dulos was reported missing by the family babysitter. Letterette's partner was equipped with a body camera that night, and the footage after arrival was shown in court. We've seen that yesterday. It's strange to me that we have this in connection with a missing person. You can hear one officer say on camera when referencing what appeared to be the red stains in the garage of Jennifer's home. The two officers had already entered the New Canaan home looking for Jennifer. When they get back to the garage, they talk about the potential of a deer strike, but noted the lack of fur. What appeared to be blood on the front side of the vehicle, Lorette said when answering state prosecutors about what they had noticed when in the garage. Police allege Fotis Dulos waited for Jennifer Dulos to return home that morning, attacked her in the garage, and tried to clean up the scene. He then drove off with her body in another SUV, which was later found abandoned at a local park. At the time, they were going through contentious divorce and child custody proceedings, with Fotis Dulos' contact with the children having been limited. Well, they're definitely giving this guy a motive. This girl and guy, I suppose, right? Troconis? Well, let's see here. The burden is on the state, said Judge Kevin Randolph, the judge presiding over the case, explaining to the jury the presumption of innocence a defendant is entitled to. It is the state prosecutor's job to demonstrate to the jury beyond reasonable doubt that Troconis was involved in Dulos' disappearance and alleged M. Troconis' family spoke out, calling the entire situation a tragedy for all families involved, and maintained that Troconis is innocent. On behalf of my daughter, who we know that she is innocent, we are trusting the fair trial, and we hope the result will be favorable for everybody, Michelle's father, Carlos Troconis, said. Among the evidence expected to be shown to the jury is police surveillance video of Fotis Dulos and Troconis driving around Hartford later in the day that Jennifer Dulos vanished. Fotis Dulos is seen getting out of his pickup truck and disposing garbage bags as Troconis sits in his vehicle. Prosecutor Michelle Manning and Sean McGinnis are also expected to show the jury what police dubbed the alibi script, a document they say Fotis Dulos and Troconis prepared that detailed their actions and locations on the day this happened. Troconis told police that Fotis Dulos' lawyer had asked them to list their activities for the days. So they're still saying that this trial is supposed to last about 6 weeks. Oh, seriously, from the same spot, from this Red Rocks. Yep, sounds like a bucket list location. Well, it sounded like they do have her with the husband disposing evidence. I have not, to be honest, I did not look into this case a whole bunch before I started streaming it. It's kind of nice to be learning this stuff with you guys. So, yeah, so you can actually see her body when disposing it. So, I don't think so, because they don't know, they haven't found Jennifer yet. But what they do believe that was being disposed was basically everything that they had used to clean up that crime scene in the garage. From the videos that we were watching yesterday, I did not see anything around the inside of that house that was pointing to any kind of attack, any kind of cleanup. To me, it looks like everything was done in this garage. Like, would you want to be the evidence tech here? Look at the size of that place. But I mean, they did a good walkthrough, and pretty sure they didn't miss anything. But that garage, yeah, not looking good for Philos Dulos and Michelle Troconis as far as that goes. You know how beautiful she was. Like, wow, stunning. And these two, as far as I'm concerned, regardless of how much money they have, they're just a couple of thugs. If this is true that she was involved, like the state is saying, yeah, I don't care what you have in your bank. You're arseholes, and you're a thug with cash as you're jetting around on your airplane. Anyone that's capable of unaliving anybody, let alone their family member, hooking up with somebody else while you had 5 kids, hooking up with this other woman, and then did she help dispose of the evidence? We're going to see that video. They are going to show it. You know, if she wanted to leave, she should have been safe enough to do it. But these people, they get all wrapped up in the almighty dollar, don't they? Like the inside of this house, there's only a few different pictures, but look at that. Look at that kitchen table. And I'm assuming the bottom left hand is some type of library, is what it's looking like. And there's space outside. My God. I mean, it almost looks like a castle. Unreal, just beyond beautiful. Well, I guess if you've got the maids and everything that would come with a house like that, and I'm sure you would. Ah, yeah. Yeah, Scott Peterson, that type of thing. That case was lucky because Lacey and Baby ended up they washed up. So they were able to have an idea with Lacey, even though she was missing some extremities, as to whether or not she had certain injuries and what have you. That was another horrible case. I can't remember with that guy. Like, is he locked up for the rest of time, or is he going to get out at one point? We're going to have Scott Peterson walking around. Well, it's 1:30 there, guys. What's taken them? 1:23. I'll give it some more time, but if it doesn't hurry up here, if they don't get busy, what I'll do is I'll set up another stream. Is he? He's a lifer. There you go. I know, right? Yeah, 9,800 square feet. And I don't know how it is in the US. Basically, in Canada, they just base that on the main floor. They're not talking about the other levels or even the basement. They're usually just talking about that main floor. So, I mean, he could have his girlfriend living on one of these freaking levels in her own room, and no one would probably know. Yeah, that's right. Scum of the earth, just in nicer clothing. Well said, friend. Well said. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I keep thinking of you, Mexi. I keep thinking, well, at least it's not Monday. Your break is coming up here in a few hours. You know, I mean, they found, oh my goodness, they found Suzanne Morphew. I know it was a few years later, but they found her. Nothing's happened with Barry, but I'm hoping something does happen with Barry because he's very, I don't know about him either. So if they found her in a remote spot like they did, is there still a chance that they're going to find Jennifer? I certainly hope so. You know, those families, the kids. Okay, yeah, yeah, here too, about the same. So do they base that on one floor, Tony, or do they base that on the square footage altogether? Like I say, here we go based on each floor. So our house is like 1,700 square feet right in there, but it's one floor. It doesn't include our basement or the other level. I just find it best to avoid the other floors, and that way I've only got one to clean. I have a thing for older houses. I mean, the new ones are nice too. I just really like the older ones with all of the archways that they can have and all the details that they can have. And there's a big difference from a house that was built in the 50s versus one in 2023. Okay, it is the same there, you think? Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? So I've been looking. They're not anywhere that I've looked. I'm not hearing of any kinds of delay with this, and I haven't heard that they canceled the afternoon session. So I don't know what's going on here, guys. Hmm. Oh, yeah, right. The creepier, the better. You know, the Victorian style homes that are in a lot of those different states in the US are amazing. Amazing. I used to talk with this woman that was on Twitter, and she lived in one of those old, massive Victorian houses. And she showed me around one day this place. Oh my God, was it gorgeous? I mean, the yard with all of the different vines and all, oh, just absolutely flipping beautiful. And then she had the whole place full of the antiques that went with that era and all the rugs. Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely beautiful place. But I don't think she have a cleaner? I'm thinking actually that she did. I think so. Maybe one. And again, like massive place. Probably, I'm going to guess anywhere between 4,000 and 5,000 square feet. There's not. No, there's not. I agree. 1,000%. Our house is kind of odd. We've got the middle part is the original house that was made back in the 50s. And then later on, somebody did an attachment and made another floor, and they put that in another area. And then later in years, the front of the house was added to, and they added a couple more rooms in there as well. So yeah, it's an interesting old house. My son says it's like a Sims house. Okay, what the heck, guys? What do you think about this? Are they coming back? Part of me wants to shut this down and watch for them to start up again because I'm not sure how long of a wait they're asking us to have. So it should be about 1:30 there. And if I don't do anything in the next little while, if I don't see any movement and they're talking about another half hour, that means probably another half hour. I'll set up another stream, or I might do something on the tree house and then do the second part of this after. But yeah, I'll give them a couple minutes. So it's 1:30 there. So just in the off chance. No, 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 thank you. I had to check. Okay, double check, triple check. I just don't know what to think here. Oh, let me check something out, actually. Looking. Yeah, I think I'll give them a couple more minutes. Oh, when I first started, and every once in a while still, it's like, what the hell am I doing? I'm talking while I'm muted. I'm, yeah, yeah. And I work with two different platforms. So I'll get used to it. Right now I'm using StreamYard, which is, it's a good streamer. Like they do a fairly good job. But I also use, what is it called now? I also use another one. So I'll get onto the other platform because I want to show more stuff. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm lucky you guys are all patient with me when I go through my moments. But with that said, ICKEDMEL is one of my personal favorites. I just think the guy is awesome. And I've seen him do the same kind of ish. So 3 times? Is this for your music, Tony? Even if I had all the money in the world, I still just live minimal, like 2 bedrooms with a loft for extra sleeping storage. I'd want a tiny house just because I too hate cleaning. But you got to think, Maxie, these great big houses, they got people to clean them. No, but yeah, if they can afford that house, they got to be able to afford those cleaners, right? Because there's no way otherwise. That's not going to happen. Yeah, I'm not interested in cleaning a monstrosity like that either. Oh, hey, that's awesome. Are you in our Discord? Because I'll definitely come watch. Absolutely. I've got another channel, and we could always figure something out as well. No, not an actual tree house. They call it the house. It is very easy, actually. Oh, yeah, I want an actual tree house. Yeah, want. I get it. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, Discord's pretty easy. It is in the description. If you click on it, it should be able to take you right there. And basically, all the people that are in here, or the majority, are also on Discord, and they'll acclimate you to it super fast. Yeah, if he's up to it, Mexi, I could do that too. Oh, are you sub to Tony? Yeah, guys, sub up to Tony. Absolutely. So this is his link. Check him out, guys. Rock and roll. Yeah, absolutely. Mexi. Channel by the name of Tony's Place. Yes, not. You're a smart cookie, my friend. But yeah, it's pretty easy platform, easy to maneuver, lots of information. And if you wanted, we could also make a tab for your music in there. How much more time do I give this, guys? So is it the at Tony's Place 7722? Is that the right one? Because I'll sub up as well. Okay, I gotta be better at this. Oh, sorry. How come I'm having problems, guys? Why am I having problems here? There we are. I found Tony. Subscribed. All right. Hey, subbed up. Absolutely, no problem. Oh, look at Looky. Yeah, yeah. It's all downhill from here. I'm sorry. Okay, guys, you know what? I am going to end this stream because I don't know when these people are coming back. So what I'll do is I'll probably take a look at the treehouse. And if there's a part 2 to Dulos, I will come back and do that later. Because I don't know. I really don't know when they're coming back. Okay, guys. So with that said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.